Hello everyone, my name is Irina and today I'm going to show you how to create this hoodie in Style 3D. If you're working in Cloth 3D, this tutorial can be useful for you as well, because the tools in this both software are pretty much the same. I'm going to show you some manipulations I use to make the garments look more realistic. It's very simple manipulations, but it can help you to improve the quality of the garments you create. So hope you enjoy and learn something new. So we start with importing a pattern of hoodie. It can be any pattern that you have or you can create yourself. So for this hoodie, first I just want to make the sleeve a little bit longer. So holding shift, I drag down the line and I put in the number how much longer I want to make it. So I think this is enough, and I would like to make it wider as well. So I changed the length of the line in both sides and make it a bit wider. Simulate and okay. I think this is enough. These steps depend on how you want your hoodie to look like. Now I want to add a line which will divide my front panel into two panels, because I'm going to make outside the raw seam, or I don't know what is it called when you can see the overlock outside. So just adjusting the curve. And now, since my front and back are the same, I can just copy and paste it. All my patterns are symmetrical, so I just need to do it on one side and it will duplicate on the other side of the piece of the pattern. And now I'm going to add some cut lines on the sleeves as well. Using a pen tool. So we have it now on both sides, front and back. And here I add internal line, 20 millimeters, where we will have stitching. I create internal lining. And we need to change some stitching we need to change it to custom angle. Make particle distance smaller so we can see better how it looks. And I want to add an angle to the stitching so it will go inwards. While simulation is on, we can see how it will look. Now I'm going to delete these stitchings which are connecting top layer and the lining, and make new stitching to stitch lining together, and with custom angle. And I want to make the back seam be more prominent, so I will stitch lining to the outside layer. So here it's already more prominent, but I would like to make it even more prominent, so I would add angle to the stitching line. So while simulation is on, we can see what's changing, and we can choose the angle that we want. So now I put it on 0, so it's maximum. And now I'm going to select the lines and cut it. I'm moving my patterns a little bit because I'm going to offset pattern outline, so I need a little bit space. Now I can select all the lines that I want to offset. And offset it on 5 millimeters, and don't forget to create internal line. So what we are doing now is adding extra 5 millimeters to our pattern. So we don't need it to be stitched there, so we need to adjust all the stitching lines, because this is going to be exposed overlock seam. I do it with the front panel as well. I need to put a dot here and delete this corner. And adjusting the rest of the seam lines. Same manipulations with the back. Now we can apply the stitching. First line we didn't change anything, and the sewing line on the edge of our pattern pieces we need to switch to turn type. Now using fold arrangement, we need to select the line, and in 2D window you can see which line you are selecting, and then turning using this pivot, we need to unfold the edges at an angle so they can become parallel to each other. You can see in 3D window what you're changing. And the same you need to do with every pattern that we applied offset. For every exposed overlock seam. So the difference between Cloth 3D and Style 3D simulation is that in Style 3D simulation is a bit more stable, but it has its advantages and disadvantages. Advantages is that if you place everything correctly when you simulate, it stays stable and then it will not move anywhere. In Style 3D, it still can move later when the length of the seams is not the same. But in Style 3D, the disadvantage is that if something simulated wrong, it will be really hard to pull it out. So you need to place everything perfectly. Sometimes it's easier to go back and simulate it again than try to fix something manually. I'm applying a strengthness to the fabric so it will help to stretch all the seams, and now we can see that everything is good. I need to apply the angle to those pieces which are kind of on the top of this overlock seam. I decide to change the fabric. I already have a preset which I like for hoodies, which is a little bit thicker than usual terry. I'm applying it to all the pieces. Yeah, so now I will change the angle on this top piece, so it will go down a little bit. I will just make it 180 degrees, so it's just straight. Yep. Now this looks better. Don't need strengthness anymore. Okay. And now I need to apply angle to the stitching with the rib. Again, when simulation is on, you can see what's changing. And I want to add a little bit elastic at the bottom, so it's like the rib is going to hold it. And the same manipulation with the sleeve. These small details maybe don't give much difference at first sight, but if you want to make realistic garments, everything is in such small details. Sometimes you just need to play with it. It all depends on the fabric you're using and the model of the hoodie you want to create. So for this hoodie, I needed to do these manipulations. Particle distance is very small right now, that's why it's a little bit slow. Usually I would put particle distance lower at the end, but now I just made it smaller to show the effect. And I need to apply some angle on the stitching where the hood connected to the body. Again, it depends on the style of the hoodie. Sometimes it's not needed. And we can see what changes. So now I'm going to offset the line 5 millimeters, because usually at that place we have like a little bit bump, Not sure what's it called, but it's like where there is a seam, and we can see like the fabric is a little bit curvy. So to create this effect, usually I create lining inside. I remove linked editing, and now I can just select the line and cut and delete the main piece. So I just have this small piece of pattern which is going to be under. So I stitch it together. The same I do with the back piece. Check the stitching. Here it's okay. So now I'm simulating, and maybe here you don't see much difference, but it all depends on the type of the fabric you use. Also on the particle distance. You can also play with the angle of the stitch line and on the collision thickness. Next, I'm going to select the stitching lines connecting hoods with the body in front and at the back, and add a little bit of tension to the stitching line. Not too much, probably just 90 is okay. And strength at 1. Simulate, and you can see the difference. It's very small change, but it makes it a little bit better. Now I'm going to select the stitching with the sleeve and apply angle to the stitch as well. So it helps to make it more prominent. Same as what we did with the hood. Same here. Okay, now I would like to apply the rib fabric to our rib. Now I'm going to create for this part lining inside and change thickness collision to 1 and lower particle distance. Also, I need to change the sewing line type and make it custom angle. Then you simulate, and you can see that it makes it look more realistic. It depends on the type of the rib you are using. So if it's folded double rib, I use this manipulation. Now I'm going to copy our main fabric and change the color. When I choose the color, I press Add to add it to our swatch panel, and I apply the same color to our rib. Now I'm selecting the pattern pieces that I'm going to apply this color to. Okay. Now it's time to apply top stitch. First I'm going to create overlock top stitch on our exposed overlock seam. We choose seam line top stitch, and we select the edge of our pattern pieces. In 3D window we can check how it's going to look. So I put the offset to 0. So it's closer to the edge. And we can see that now it's on both sides. And changing the color of the stitch. Now we need to do the same with the sleeves. And in this type of stitching we have front and back we need to apply the same color. Now I'm going to draw placement for our pockets. I'm using pen tool. And and holding shift I can create curved lines. Connecting the start and the end together. Now we can just adjust the shape as we like it. In 3D window we can see how it looks. And there are different methods on how to make the pockets. I can either select all this and create a pattern from this internal shape, but I'm doing a different way. For now I need to create internal line because I want the pocket to have exposed seams as well. So I just make 3 millimeters and I create lining outside. Remove linked editing. Now I'm selecting this and just cut, and I can just delete the main piece. So when you're working in these methods, the pockets are already in the right place. You can also clone it as a pattern, but in this case it will appear on the side and you will need to superimpose it. You can do it this way as well, but I just prefer to create this lining outside and it's already at the right place. It's easier to simulate it later. And our pockets are already stitched. We can simulate it. I just make it symmetrical pattern, and I offset internal line to 2 centimeters, 20 milliliters. Now I create lining inside, duplicate this pocket. I remove linked editing and I cut this line. Because on the pockets we have this folded edge. I sew this line together, and on the edge I need to change it to custom angle sewing type. Now we simulate it. I change the collision thickness to 1. And check if everything is good. If there are problems in simulation, because there are 3 layers of fabric, sometimes you need to set sub-layer and choose which layer of the fabric comes on top. Also, it helps to freeze one layer of fabric before simulation. Then you can superimpose it over, simulate it, and now it's good. So now it's not going anywhere. You can unfreeze and the simulation is stable. And now I would like to add a graphic. So in Style 3D, there is an option to choose artwork technology. So you can play with it. I'm going to use silver foil for this print. It's basically a preset of metallic texture. And now we need to add top stitch to the rest of the seams. I'm using regular top stitch, making it obj and putting offset to 0. And I need to apply it to where we can see the top stitch. Then I apply the correct color and copy it. Apply the color of the bottom part of the hoodie that we have and apply it to the pocket. And yeah, I think it's ready. We can see how it looks in render. So this is our final result. you can see that small manipulations can help to achieve more realistic look. There is always something you can improve, and I just showed you a couple of tricks that I'm using. Please follow me in Instagram, Clothes3D, and if you have any questions, leave a comment. Thank you.